Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. Hey, Tyreek Hill's absence from Wednesday's Miami Dolphins training camp has sparked a whirlwind of concern among fans, analysts, and even some within the organization as the preseason inches closer. The Dolphins, already limping through early August with a laundry list of injuries, could now be facing a more severe setback if Hill's condition is anything more than a precautionary rest, with preseason action set to begin this Sunday against the Chicago Bears. Hill's sudden withdrawal from practice, as reported by C. Isaiah Smalls II of the Miami Herald and observed by veteran reporter Omar Kelly, throws a wrench into any hope that Miami could begin the 2025 campaign with a clean bill of health. This isn't just about one player missing a practice. This is the team's most explosive offensive weapon, the heartbeat of their vertical game, showing visible discomfort and taking himself off the field. In a training camp already defined by medical updates and rehab routines, Hill's status quickly escalates to top priority, and the timing couldn't be worse. The Dolphins' injury list is already long enough to fill a small infirmary. Cornerback Kader Kohou suffered a brutal knee injury that will sideline him for the entire season, gutting the team's secondary before a single snap of real football has been played. Right tackle Austin Jackson is nursing an undisclosed ailment, rookie cornerback Sam Smith is unavailable, and fullback Alec Ingold entered concussion protocol following what coach Mike McDaniel described as a routine hit. Miami's roster is limping, and August has barely begun. Injuries are nothing new for this team. They've seemingly dealt with an inordinate amount of physical setbacks over the past few years, but it's the type and timing that's worrying this time. These aren't third stringers or long shots. These are starters, contributors, guys expected to play major roles in a potential playoff push. Now Hill, the team's most irreplaceable playmaker, might be joining the ranks of the wounded. If you rewind the tape to 2024, it's clear Hill was never truly himself. Yes, he still posted numbers most receivers would dream of, but something was clearly off. Yeah, that explosion after the catch, that signature wiggle at the line, that breakaway gear that made him the most dangerous man on any field, it just wasn't there like it had been before. A nagging wrist injury, which he finally had surgically repaired during the offseason, limited his range of motion and seemingly robbed him of that top gear. He toughed it out, but everyone, from teammates to opposing corners, could see it. Despite Tua Tagovailoa's prolonged absence and a collapsing offensive line that couldn't hold a block or open up rushing lanes, Hill remained a focal point. But he was fighting through it, fighting his body. Now, just as hopes were rising that he'd return to form, he's once again on the sidelines, creating a cloud of uncertainty no one wanted. It's not just about whether Hill plays Sunday. He almost certainly won't. It's about what this signals. When a player pulls himself from practice, especially a competitor like Hill, that's rarely a good sign. These guys live for the grind. They fight through soreness, aches, bruises. Pulling yourself out suggests either serious discomfort or long-term precaution, neither of which brings comfort to a Dolphins team trying to build early chemistry and momentum. It also means valuable reps for backup receivers who are nowhere near Hill's level. You can't replicate his speed. You can't duplicate his presence. Defensive coordinators game plan around him. His gravity opens up the field for everyone else. Without him, suddenly Jalen Waddle is getting bracketed. The middle is clogged, and the Dolphins are relying on timing routes and short throws. That's not their game. That's not McDaniel's vision. And here's the real kicker. Miami's schedule doesn't exactly allow for a slow start. They open the regular season with a tough road game, followed by a stretch of matchups against aggressive pass rushes and well-coached secondaries. Having Hill at even 90% could be the difference between a 2-2 start or falling into a 1-3 hole. The preseason isn't about wins and losses, but it's about setting tone, rhythm, and trust. Tua needs to see Hill on the field. They need to reestablish their connection after a disjointed 2024 campaign. And for all the talk about scheme and motion and spacing, it's Hill's ability to turn a 5-yard slant into a 60-yard touchdown that keeps defensive coordinators up at night. Every snap he misses in camp is a missed opportunity for that offense to rediscover its timing and explosiveness. And they can't afford to lose that edge again. What complicates things further is the complete silence around the exact nature of Hill's current issue. The Dolphins are notoriously vague with injury details during training camp, and that's understandable to a degree. But the absence of information creates a vacuum that's quickly filled with speculation. Is it the wrist again? Is it a soft tissue injury like a hamstring or groin? Common this time of year, especially for speedsters. Or is it something more structural, like a knee or ankle tweak that could linger into the regular season? Until we know more, all we can have is the optics. A star player pulling himself out of practice in early August. And that's never a good optic, especially when the team's medical room is already overflowing. McDaniel can try to downplay it in interviews, but fans are watching, reporters are watching, opponents are watching, and most of all, Tyreek Hill is watching his own body closely. Let's not forget, Hill isn't getting any younger. He's 31, now entering the stage of his career where elite speed often begins to decline, especially if the body isn't cooperating. He's logged a ton of high-impact snaps since entering the league in 2016. The wear and tear accumulate. There's a reason few receivers maintain elite production into their 30s unless they evolve their game. Hill has the intelligence and route running savvy to make that transition. But a diminished Hill is still not what Miami needs right now. They need the Hill, the cheetah, the game wrecker, the player who can single-handedly flip the outcome of a game. If the version they get is still battling his body, it forces the Dolphins to rethink everything, from play designs to usage rates to personnel packages. And with Waddle already nursing his own share of bumps and bruises, depth at wide receiver could suddenly become a glaring concern. Fans are right to be nervous. This team, for all its potential, still lives on a razor's edge when it comes to availability. They were hyped entering last season too, only to see that optimism evaporate as the injuries piled up. The offensive line never gelled. The run game sputtered. Tua missed time. And even though they made the playoffs, it felt like they limped in rather than kicked down the door. The hope this offseason was that with a cleaner bill of health and another year under McDaniel's system, the offense would finally explode the way it was built to. Hill was supposed to be the centerpiece of that detonation. The guy who stretches the field, commands double teams, and makes life easier for everyone else. If he's not right, physically or mentally, the whole house of cards could start to wobble again. And Miami fans have seen this movie before. Still, it's not time to panic yet. If Hill returns to practice on Friday during the Dolphins' joint session with the Bears in Chicago, this entire saga could fade away into just another blip on the preseason radar. A non-story, a precautionary move, a reminder that stars sometimes take breathers in camp. But if he doesn't, if he's absent again, if there's more cryptic language from McDaniel, or worse, if we see a report from an insider indicating something more serious, then it's time to reevaluate the entire outlook for this offense. Because for all the weapons Miami has accumulated, for all the talk about balance and versatility, Hill is still the engine. He's the fire starter. And if that flame is flickering, Miami could find themselves once again stuck in neutral come September. Let's just hope it's nothing more than smoke, not fire. For now, all eyes turn to Friday. That joint practice in the Windy City will be telling, not just for Hill's availability, but for the overall vibe of this roster. Are they locked in? Are they resilient? Or are we watching another promising team get chipped away by early injuries and creeping doubt? McDaniel has preached a culture of grit and adaptability, but even the toughest locker rooms crack when stars to go down. If Hill shows up in pads, even for a limited walkthrough, it'll offer a sigh of relief. But until then, speculation will swirl, concern will mount, and the margin for error will shrink. Because this isn't just about one receiver missing practice. This is about a franchise teetering between contention and collapse. And Tyreek Hill, for better or worse, is the tipping point. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments. What's your take on the Fins this week? The Miami Dolphins might just be cooking up something big on the defensive side of the ball. And it's got fans buzzing all over social media. The latest rumor swirling around South Beach is the potential addition of cornerback CJ Henderson to the Dolphins secondary, a move that if true could send shockwaves across the AFC East. While there hasn't been an official announcement yet, several insiders close to the organization have hinted at behind-the-scenes conversations taking place. Henderson, once seen as one of the most promising young corners in the league, has had a rocky start to his NFL career. But now, whispers suggest that a change of scenery could be exactly what he needs. And if that scenery happens to include palm trees, aqua jerseys, and one of the fastest rising teams in the league, then fans should brace themselves. This could be more than just a depth move. It might be the missing piece for a defense on the verge of dominance. When you think about what the Dolphins have been building defensively, adding someone like Henderson isn't just a luxury, it's a potential game changer. Let's not forget Miami already boasts a defensive unit that ranked among the top in several key metrics last season, with stars like Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, and Jevon Holland flying around the field. But cornerback depth has been an area of concern, especially with injuries affecting consistency on the outside. That's where CJ Henderson could step in, not just as a backup or rotational guy, but as a legitimate starter who brings physicality and attitude to every snap. He's got that swagger, that edge, and the kind of press man skills that could thrive in Vic Fangio's or whoever ends up calling plays defensive scheme. It's a tantalizing idea, and fans are already dreaming of matchups where Henderson lines up across from Stephon Diggs, Garrett Wilson, or even Tyreek Hill during intense practices. What makes this rumor even more compelling is how quietly it's emerged. There's no flashy breaking news alert, no Schefter bomb just yet, but those in the know are connecting dots. Henderson, a former top 10 pick, has had stints with the Jaguars and Panthers, both of which never truly allowed him to tap into his full potential. Injuries, coaching changes, and schematic misfits have all played a role in his uneven trajectory. But sources close to Henderson say he's hungry, motivated like never before, and looking for a place that will believe in him as much as he believes in himself. Miami, with its vibrant culture, competitive spirit, and defensive-minded coaching staff, could offer just that. And let's be real, if there's any franchise that loves to bet on upside, it's the Dolphins. Just look at their track record. This could be a classic buy low, develop into gold situation brewing in the 305. Some might question if Henderson still has that lockdown corner potential that made him such a coveted draft pick out of Florida. And honestly, that skepticism is fair. His NFL career hasn't exactly been smooth sailing, but when you dig into the tape, flashes of brilliance still pop. He's long, athletic, and can run with just about anyone. His tackling has improved, and when he's mentally locked in, Henderson can mirror receivers with the best of them. The problem has never been talent, it's been consistency and fit. And sometimes that's all it takes. A new environment, a new coaching voice, a system that plays to his strengths. Those factors can be the catalyst for a career renaissance. If Miami's front office truly sees something here, don't be surprised if they pull the trigger. The timing is right. The need is there. And Henderson, for all his ups and downs, might just be the kind of gamble that pays off in a big way. Let's also not ignore the cultural impact of a move like this. Henderson is a Florida guy through and through. Born and raised in Miami, a former Florida Gator, and now potentially returning to his roots to play for the Dolphins. That storyline alone writes itself. Think about the energy it would bring, not just for him, but for the fan base. A hometown kid looking to resurrect his career in front of family, friends, and the same community that watched him rise through the ranks. Is cinematic. And in a league that thrives on narratives, the CJ Henderson comeback arc could become one of the most talked about stories of the season. The Dolphins know how to market players, and Henderson could go from forgotten first rounder to South. Beach redemption tale in the blink of an eye. It's not just football, it's theater. And Miami has always loved putting on a show. Now, of course, none of this is set in stone. Until there's pen to paper or a jersey held up in a press conference, this is all speculation. But smart fans know to read between the lines. Miami's been aggressive in shaping its roster in recent years, unafraid to swing big. From the blockbuster trade for Tyreek Hill to bold draft picks and free agent acquisitions, this is a franchise that operates with urgency. And adding Henderson, while maybe not a headline-grabbing move to some, fits that same mold. High risk, high reward. It's a calculated play that could shore up one of the few soft spots on an otherwise loaded defense. If nothing else, it sends a message to the locker room, to the league, and to Henderson himself that the Dolphins are still hungry, still building, still chasing greatness, and they believe in second chances. Insiders have noted that Dolphins coaches have been doing their homework. There's talk of quiet workouts, informal meetings, even some cryptic social media follows and likes that fans are obsessively tracking. And in today's NFL, where Instagram activity can sometimes predict roster moves better than insiders, that kind of digital footprint is worth watching. Henderson's own online behavior hasn't been shy. Likes on Dolphins posts, Miami-related content, and even a cryptic back home tweet have only added fuel to the fire. Is it smoke? Or is there real fire here? That's the million-dollar question. But if the Dolphins are serious about adding toughness, swagger, and raw talent to their secondary, Henderson's name deserves to stay at the top of the rumor mill. The timing, the fit, and the potential are all aligning. And in a league where fortunes change fast, Miami might be on the verge of another bold chapter. There's also the mentorship angle to consider. A young corner like Henderson could benefit tremendously from being around veterans who've seen it all. If he joins Miami, he'd enter a room with experienced voices, from Xavier Howard, if he remains with the team, to emerging leaders like Jevon Holland. That mentorship, that day-to-day guidance could be invaluable for a player looking to rediscover his footing. It's not just about scheme, it's about culture. And the Dolphins, under head coach Mike McDaniel, have quietly built one of the more player-friendly environments in the NFL. It's a locker room that preaches accountability, but also support. A place where second chances aren't just given, they're earned. And that might be exactly what Henderson needs. He doesn't have to be the guy right away, he just needs a chance. And Miami might be the rare team that offers both patience and opportunity in equal measure. From a fan perspective, this rumor has already sparked wild debate. Social media is split. Some Dolphins fans are hyped, already imagining Henderson in aqua and orange, while others are more cautious, pointing to past performances and the risk of inconsistency. But that's what makes this so intriguing. Conversation itself is proof that this is more than just noise. It's a move that could pay off massively or quietly fizzle. And that kind of volatility, that unpredictability, is exactly what keeps fans engaged. Because deep down, everyone loves a redemption story. Everyone wants to believe that talent can be revived, that careers can be resurrected. And Henderson, for all his past missteps, still carries that potential. He's still young, still athletic, still hungry. And if the Dolphins believe they can harness that, then we might be looking at one of the more under-the-radar coups of the 2025 offseason. So what happens next? That's the question hanging in the air right now. Will the Dolphins make the move official? Will Henderson find himself back in the Sunshine State, ready to prove all the doubters wrong? Or is this just another off-season whisper that fades into the background as the season approaches? Only time will tell. But one thing's for certain, the buzz is real. The conversations are happening. And the idea of CJ Henderson bringing that heat, that attitude, that physicality to the Dolphins' defense is more than just a fantasy. It's a very real possibility. Fans better keep their notifications on because this story is far from over. And if Henderson does end up in Miami, don't be surprised if this so-called rumor turns into one of the most talked about moves of the season. He's not just coming back. He's coming to make a statement, and Miami just might be the perfect stage. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up.